with people to get our frequency back on track. It's all a frequency war. This is why they took your language. This is why they took your beliefs. This is why they took your culture, because those main things are what makes a people up. Language, land, a flag. This is why they hid all this stuff from you. But they didn't hide religion from you. They didn't hide politics from you. They didn't hide English from you. They didn't hide the fact that they tried to tell you was a slave and you came on a slave ship. I tell people all the time, if you were truly African, they would have hid that from you. The fact that they didn't, the fact that they blasted it across the world, the fact that they blasted it in books, the fact that they blasted it everywhere, lets you know, right there should let you know that it's a lie. Anything that these people readily allow you to learn and they push in your face, it's an agenda. Because if you truly was an African, they would have hid that from you. You telling me they loved you so much to tell you your identity, that you're an Egyptian? You believe that they loved you so much that they let you find out you were an African? No. They told you was African because there's an agenda behind it. Just like anything they allow you to learn, anything they allow you to find out, and they put in front of your face, I'm talking about push it in front of you. Because we had to work hard to find out that we were Indians, that we were indigenous. We had to, first of all, grandmom said it, great-grandma said it, and then we had to take what they said, and then we had to go through all this paperwork and search, and then we had to listen to YouTube channels, then we had to take notes, and then we had to figure it out, then we had to travel to different states, we had to find out what state they live in. See, that's how you know that's the truth. They made it difficult for you. They pulled teeth to find out who you were. But you didn't have to do that to be an African. They put it in Roots. They put it in movies. Every day. They keep reminding you 12 years a slave. They keep reminding you that you're an African, that you came here on a slave ship, right? So that's how you know something's an agenda. The same thing they did with religion. Everywhere you go in indigenous community, you find a religion on the corner, and right near there's a bar and alcohol. See, and this is how you know this is a foreign domestication process. Because what were you before religions? Before you got into the church, to the mosque, to the Hebrew Israelite movements and all this other stuff, where were you before that? What language did you speak? What culture did you have? Because you predate all those things. Okay? The Hebrew language is not older than your language. Arabic is not older than your language. And those cultures are not older than you. So before those cultures presented themselves to the world, what were you doing in America? And that's what you need to ask yourself. Because that's what they hid from you. And the reason they hid it, and then they replaced it with all these other things. And you look around, the indigenous American has not righted his ship through any of it. Through any of it. Most of the time when they domesticate you, okay, they take you through a process of domestication. They remove your original self, and then they give you constructs to build what they want you to be. So they remove your original self, and then they give you all these constructs. So as soon as you're born into a family that's been domesticated, and then they domesticate you, not on purpose. They don't know any better. So they domesticate you. You never heard stories about being from Africa from your family, but your family sends you to school to learn to be an African. Your family sends you to church to learn to be a Christian. Your family sends you to the mosque to learn how to be a Muslim. Even though grandmom and great-grandmom never spoke about any of that for the most part. They gave you something different. You had a culture. You have one to this day. You still practice it. You just don't have any connection to it spiritually, because our culture is our spirituality. That's one thing that we need to understand. Okay? Religions separate culture, but we were a people of culture. We were a people of nature. Our nature and our culture was our spirituality. And you separate us from that and you give us a church. Then we had to bring our culture into the church. Why you think our churches be singing and dancing and wearing the big hats? We brought our culture in there. But what happened is our spirituality, what our culture meant to us, got pushed away through the Bible, through religions, through all these other things. So now our culture is just reflex, and our spirituality is God. You see how it works? So now shucking corn and picking peas and the dances that we did and the way that we talk and The way that we do funerals, and the way that we sing, and the way that we play music, and the way that we eat, and the way that we cook, all that was spirituality. You ever know, for example, there's places in Philly where there's mounds. And when we were coming up, that's where we had our family reunions. That's where we had our cookouts. That's every so-called black person in the city went to these places. All the places around the city that was mounds in nature there. And we didn't even know they were mounds, but now we do later on in life. But we didn't even know. But we always went there, automatically went there to play basketball. We automatically went there to have cookouts. We automatically went there to have family. Why did we all keep going to these places? Because we always went to them. We've always went to these places. We've always went to them for thousands of generations, probably. But the problem is we got disconnected mentally and psychologically from the place. But the reflex was there. Okay? So now we wasn't going there for spirituality anymore. We was going to religious temples. It's a foreign domestication process. They couldn't kill you. They couldn't kill your soul. They couldn't kill who you were, your spirituality. They just gave you something else to be into. That's it. So when you doing, and then we just pass it on. It's called a foreign domestication process. You've been foreign domesticated. Okay? They couldn't kill you. They couldn't get you off the land. They got your mind off the land. They got your heart off the land. But physically, you're still here. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's what I'm saying. So I ask people one thing like this, right? Name me one major thing in a human's life, in a person's life. Right? Amongst our people. Whether it's belief, economics, spirituality, any of that. Show me where it belongs to us. Every single thing that we practicing and believing in, for the most part. Now we're waking up. That is happening. There's an awakening happening. And we're definitely waking up. But if you look at the situation through our neighborhoods, something as important as spirituality, a foreigner gave it to us. Either following Arabs or you following Christians or you following Hebrews. None of it is yours. None of it. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? So something as important as spirituality, you don't even. It's not. What were you? What was your spirituality? But see, you're told that your people were savages, that they were stupid, and that their beliefs meant nothing. So who was it that came along and said that organized religion? How old is organized religion? Anybody know? But see, they tell us that Adam and Eve and all of this stuff. So they once you accept that concept, you believe that religion has always been. So you accept that. You say, well, now it's an argument that how you gonna win? You've been so indoctrinated with the Adam and Eve story, you're not even gonna, you think this is how I'm gonna win that argument. You're right, Adam and Eve. And then God made them. So these religions had to be around, right? At least in some form. So religion was first, right? Who told you that? And when you start researching academically, real research, not no theologically, not no personal belief, going into the records, doing your own research, going into the books, people that research and reading, you start realizing that, wait a minute, when did organized religion come about as a system? And it wasn't that long ago. And once you realize it wasn't that long ago, you start asking yourself, well, who made it? Who put God in a box? Who institutionalized God? Who made God a system? And then you start looking at the fact that all these religions, they all come from a language. They all tied to a language. Christianity is tied to Latin. Islam is tied to Arabic. Hinduism tied to what's the language they speak in over there in Hindu? I can't even remember the language they speak. I want to get it right because I don't want to be disrespectful. But y'all know what I'm saying, right? You look at, because you can go anywhere in the world. I don't care if they speak Farsi there. The Quran is in Arabic, and you have to learn Islam in Arabic. In America, we learn Islam in Arabic, right? So it's tied to a language. Then it's tied to a place. Islam is tied to Saudi Arabia. I don't care what they say. That's where it's tied to. Buddhism and all that's tied to China and Asia. Hebrewism is tied to the Middle East, Jerusalem, and all those areas, Palestine. Okay? Christianity is tied to Europe. Right? I'm not saying that's where it started. I'm saying that's what it's tied to. So all of it is Middle Eastern. So all those religions are tied to the Middle East. So this is why they have cultural realities to the Middle East and to those languages. But what were you tied to? Okay? Because our people didn't know anything about these religions. Okay? Let's go back 600 years ago. Where was it? Where was Christianity, Islam, and Hebrewism in America? I know people try to tie us to these things, Moors and Hebrews and stuff like that. But you start getting into your oral traditions, you start realizing, like, wait a minute. We wasn't never tied to any of that stuff. We predate the Bible. So how I'm tied to the Bible when I'm older than the Bible? You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying they didn't have some of our story in it. I'm not saying that they didn't write some of it about us. I'm saying that we predated. And all I'm saying is get your mind back. But as long as we keep on falling into these foreign domestications, we've been domesticated. So as soon as we come out, children, they domesticate us. They give us a whole set of values, a whole system, a whole belief system, a whole concept. Everything is already written out for you. Here you go. This is what you believe. This is what you got. And you never get the chance to have your own free will, your own thoughts. Nobody.